Welcome. This is next craft choreography online, and today we have not one, not two, not three, not four, but five amazing artist groups from all over the world. We're gonna have Chaim Gebber, we're gonna have Sada Mamedova, we're gonna have East by North Dance Theater, Elias and Wendy Choi-Buttinger, as well as Olivia Court Mesa.
If it doesn't come bursting out of you, in spite of everything, don't do it.
That was our performance part of the evening, and now is the talk with the invited artists. So I'm looking forward to meet all of them finally live and have some wonderful conversation, like get to know a little bit more about the pieces. So if you like that kind of stuff, please stay with us for another 3 minutes, and we're gonna be back with the live transmission of a Zoom call with all the artists. So it looks like it's working, and I guess we can start. So thank you so much for being here. This is super wonderful, and I mean, I am amazed with all of your works. I mean, we are not all, of course, we are missing Elias right now, and we are missing Sada, but other than that, we have all the teams. And I mean, honestly, like, you put a lot of work in there, and a lot of something that I call movement research. So I really love, to see well-crafted, well-crafted movement, basically, and like attention put into this, part of our art, which is working with the body and developing the vocabulary of movement, the craft of movement, hence the title, a bit further. So maybe, you could tell me a little bit about the context of your work, maybe shortly, like how did you start making it, and how was the process of working on it, and so on. So maybe Chaim? Or someone else in the in the worst situation. So let's leave some time for Chaim to figure out, like, I think you are a lot of something that I call movement research. So I really love, to see well-crafted yeah, well-crafted movement basically, and like attention put into this, you know, part of our art, which is working with the body and yeah, developing the vocabulary of movement, the craft of movement, hence the title, a bit further. So maybe, you know, you could tell me a little bit about the context of your work, maybe shortly, like how did you start making it, and how was the process of working on it, and so on. So maybe Chaim. So I will say to someone, I think someone of you, maybe Chaim, you are maybe watching it on YouTube. Where is?
Yeah.
No, we are in a Zoom.
So
I stopped YouTube now.
Okay.
Let's see if it's better.
It's definitely better. Okay, because there is this delay, you know, always when we're talking. But now we have it figured out. So let me know something about the movement and about the work. Thank you.
Okay, thank. I'm trying to figure out how to put it. Can you put it bigger so I can see what's?
No.
Oh, that's the biggest one.
I don't know now. I changed something. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I hear you perfectly.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Great, thank you. Working. So the thing about body play is that I was trying to find a way to create a piece that could work everywhere with any kind of people around the globe. It doesn't matter if it's Germany or Brazil and so on. And then we have the conscious body system. That's a brain workout system. That's a straightforward workout based on the body structures. So it's not based on a specific technique, it's a system of movement. And then I applied the system into a choreographic system in a way that everyone everywhere could join us on the piece, on stage. And you have been showing it from like in Asia, Europe, Africa, and it's always working because it's based on touch and physical reactions on touch.
All right. Thank you for this. Thank you for this answer. Yeah. As I understand, like you're working on the feedback probably that the touch gives to the body and what kind of movement it produces, as I understand.
Yeah, and for example, the idea is to create structures or use the body as a machine. And that's at the very end of the piece, you have the blindfolded moment to show that if you have a aim and you deal with touch, not seeing who is moving, but feel the structure of the body on the space, we can create something together. And the idea of doing it blindfold is to overcome the barriers of prejudice and expectations of what I see creates something and some expectations that will affect my reaction and my action as well. And that's why we have this blindfolded last moment that calls the structures that we create things together based on body structures.
Awesome. I think there is a lot of, I mean, to be honest, like the company that we have here in Vienna is also called Body Architects, and we love to work with structures, like building, or I love to work, I can speak for myself, with like building bodies on top of bodies on top of bodies. And I think this is,
exactly.
This is super exciting. Like, what else can we do from like the multiple, not just one, which brings me to East by North Dance Theater, and and we were talking about structures and like how your work developed. So I'm curious, where is the interest coming from, and just how did you develop it?
Sure. So myself and Sarah and the third person in our video, Steven, we've all been working together for a long time. We've been working together for about 15 years in a separate company. So we're all pretty intimately knowledgeable about one another's physical capabilities. So when we set out to create a trio, we really wanted to try and figure out what within our group structure, how we can move as one in the most efficient and best ways. And basically our goal was to essentially create efficiency in movement amongst three people, and also how far we could push, kind of our physical limits in a certain kind of slower format, and also not drop each other. That was also a key goal in what we wanted to do, is not drop each other. So mission accomplished on that for sure. And we're always we're working through a lot of improvisational kind of techniques to develop most of our movement, and a lot of recording our improv sessions, and then going back, reworking things, seeing how they can be improved, and that's generally how we'll build a piece.
But you have a very specific, very specific movement language, and for example, because I could say certain things of what you say about all three of the pieces, but I have to say that your work stands out because it's very, clean in a form of respecting the geometrical alignments of the body. And I'm wondering, where is this coming from? Because there is a clear, I don't want to compare, but there is a clear difference between, for example, your work and Olivia's work. So I'm wondering, because you both work on a body, and you both work, both teams work, in a clear connection. Of course, you both don't want to drop each other, but I'm curious about this style, and maybe you could tell me a little bit more about this.
So I think when we're working together, we try to use our bodies as a combination almost to make one body. So to extend those lines beyond what maybe your natural form can do. When you do it with three, that line extends, or that energy extends, or the shape extends. So I think what we try to do is combine multiple people, multiple bodies, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, to create other shapes and dance within those shapes, all with the support that's essential from each other to make it happen.
And I'm so interested to hear what Olivia is going to talk about. And it was so beautiful. It was so amazing. The partnering was so outstanding, and we're just watching in awe. And we're like, oh wow, that's so great. It's so specific, and there's a lot of nuance in there that was so amazing. So yeah, our work it's similar and different in that way, but it's from what we're generally classically trained ballet dancers, and we were dancing in modern dance companies for 15 years. So we went from that kind of very structured to, kind of producing a less structured form of movement that perhaps doesn't have a name attached to it, from the French language or something like that. So it's trying to create something that we haven't seen, and trying to create something that you know, other folks haven't seen, which I will have to commend to everyone in this festival today of doing something that I've never seen before and was enthralled the entire time. It's so amazing. Bravo, everybody.
Okay, Olivia?
Hi. um, so first of all, I have to say that it was very, very exciting to watch the pieces and also to see this performance again that was premiered last year, and that I didn't have the chance to perform again because of all the Corona situation. And wow, I really felt how much I'm missing the stage. It was really touching to feel that. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I didn't know I was missing it so much. And so what to say about the work? It's nice to see everyone with their partners. Also, Yochai, the guy that is dancing with me, is my partner. He is now with our daughter downstairs. So this is very funny and nice. I like to see it. And we were improvising a lot. And I was very, very curious about the power of physical actions. And there is where I brought my focus throughout the creation. I felt that any physical action that we are doing with one another, it has a very clear meaning just by bringing this physical action in their most clear way. If I carry him, it means something very different than when he's carrying me. Ven, sácate el chupete. Yeah, this was really, you can also come in, everyone is with their partners here. So this was really my main focus. And yeah, we worked a lot with the tools of contact improvisation, but then of course in a very clear set material. So part of the work is also connected to finding this line between performance and behavior that I also found very, very interesting. To really play, what does it mean to just behave? And what does it mean to bring some kind of character within the movement? So yeah, this is like more or less the exploration and how things evolve.
So that is okay. I'm just checking the level every time I switch. Yeah, so it seems like we all of you come from a very different movement world in a way, but somehow working on this idea of playfulness and somehow working on this idea of what else is possible. And I'm wondering, what do you think in general of the idea of expanding the human abilities or expanding the human movement abilities? Is there a chance for some kind of learning, still learning something about our bodies, about like the way we move, or are we at the level where you have to take certain technique and it's all there? Or maybe there is some kind of possibility of learning something new or figuring out something new? I'm asking this because I'm really interested in the so-called movement research, and I'm wondering, how would you relate to that, and how would you relate this to your work and so on? So maybe Chaim.
Yep. So what do you mean learning or creating something new? They both are not quite, it's not the same. I think learn is a constant process. You can learn always from, it's so many, today most on internet you have possibility to get in touch with so many kinds of techniques, and not only dance techniques, but movement techniques from martial arts and dance, theater, circus. And it's a constant learning process. You can add things on your work, you can get inspired, you can work in the opposite direction, but it's a constant, you have thousands of possibilities every single second on internet. On in Berlin as well, we have a huge range of different styles of dance technique that is offered every day. So I think the learning process is endless. We can always learn something new. And to create something new, that's the difficult thing. To take everything and put in a new way of seeing, feeling, and expressing things. That's a hard work. But it can be done. It is done, but not so often as a learning process. Yeah. And I should say that I was amazed to see Olivia after such a long time. We met briefly a few years ago in a company in Germany, and it was great to see you here. So thank you.
How about the others?
That's it. Yeah.
So I think for us, we share the same sentiment where you can really offer, you know, observation, a lot of observation and other different kinds of movement, and finding different kinds of inspiration from anything. We have our movement director is here. Oh, here he is. And he really is, he's probably the largest inspiration for us in terms of finding a relaxation in movement, and finding you know, an ability to really sink into certain kinds of movement styles and feel at ease in one's body. But excuse me, sir. But I really do honestly find a lot of similarity in that being, you know, just being open to any kind of movement style that gives you inspiration, that provides any sort of aesthetic pleasure to you know, to an audience or yourselves, and you know, not limiting yourself. I felt like a lot of the pieces that I saw today in this festival, they did not limit themselves to one specific technique or one specific movement style, or even you know, a specific. Everything had a through line, but nothing was so specifically viewing itself in that way. So it was you know, when you ask if you learn anything or what to learn, I learned a lot today, for sure. Just and I think every time that we see dance, and specifically, also as Olivia was saying, to see live dance again, and you know, a lot of these pieces were obviously performed in front of a live audience. I think having that feeling, having that kind of energy inserted into dance movement is something that we obviously will not forget, but I certainly hope it comes back soon, because it adds such a huge part of that viewing experience, to see it live, to see the dancers working, to see the dancers sweating, to hear them breathing, all for the sake of the art that they're doing is just a really beautiful thing. And it was extremely nice to see it again.
I have to say that I have very similar experience. Like every time I like start to play it, it's like, brings me back. In Vienna, it's not so bad. I have to say, like the outdoor performances are allowed already. So there is a bit of that, but somehow the atmosphere in the theater and I don't know. And also like, you know, being all around the world sounds suddenly like one place here, one place there, one place there. This is all like, and seeing different audiences with every performance is kind of magical. I have to say, I never thought of this like that, but today especially we had very well filmed works, so we could feel every time the presence of the audience, and I think this is really nice. And again, this is something that I like also in terms of practicality of how to film things, how to record experience of a performance. Actually, we should not forget about actually the audience and how to film audience. Like this is there's just some random thoughts I have, but it's already the third time, so I feel like I need to share this.
I think we saw you in the audience. I believe we saw you in the audience, and yes, slipping on some very cool sunglasses at the end of the first piece, the second piece.
Yes, there is of course this moment. Yeah, that's I've been there, and it was very strange because it was just one time Elias showed it, and never again. It was like in a village in Austria, like it was not reachable by easy transport, but somehow because of a friend I went to see it, and it was awesome. Yeah, let's continue to the area of a question mark. How is it to choreograph and to dance in your own work? And how is the experience of how to say decision making and you know, simply being there? Maybe you could tell me, and there's a question to each of you, so feel free to unmute yourself.
I know everyone's going to jump in at once. I know it. Working together democratically, I think, provides its challenges for everybody. And I think at least for our work, and maybe it's because we've worked together, as I'm sure many of you have worked together for a long time, have known each other for a long time. I think we know when to push and know when to back off and know when an idea just needs to sit and simmer and you know, and
when you can leave it and come back to it, you know, like
right, and when we're able to see what the other person is kind of thinking physically and expound upon that idea together, those are really the most magical moments, when you see that seed and you go, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that this is how we can make it better, and you kind of open that dialogue. We try very hard not to have any sort of hard stops, any sort of hard, you know, no, absolutely not. That'll never work. Chickens on stage, absolutely not, or whatever it happens to be. But I do think that, at least for us, our collaborative process is very, very open. And I think that we're both open to the idea that whatever the clearest thought, the clearest intention, the clearest idea, that's going to be the thing that floats up to the top, because we ultimately want to, one, elevate our work, but also elevate the experience of those watching our work, and make sure that the ideas that we have are clearly communicated, and it's not, you know, mumbled in some sort of you know, physical argument that happened behind the scenes, or something where I wanted to use my right arm instead of my left arm, or something like that. I think we're extremely, extremely open. You know, I think you have to be, if a lot of your dancers are in blindfolds, which was part of your piece that I was my mouth was open the whole time. I was enthralled, wondering what that experience was going to be like in the audience, watching everyone, and then also being a person dancing on stage in a blindfold, being connected to another person. It kind of raises that risk factor. So although we obviously have things to say about it, I can't wait to hear what other folks have to say about those decision-making processes.
So I think the body plays a really, I think was the easiest work I have done so far, because was nothing. The idea was to create a space to communicate and to be accepted and to accept what the others have offering, and no judgment, no, there's no space for pre things. The things is happening right now and we should deal with it. The blindfold moment is, we do this in a residency way, that you go for a place, we stay there for 10 days with the dancers. We have 4 dancers in the company and 3 local dancers that join us always. And always the first 2-3 days is quite awkward, because this idea of being imposing your idea on the others are quite difficult. And then when you understand you're not imposing, you're offering, and then you're not using, you're adapting. And then the work starts to develop, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see how people get connected, and they think, oh, I think I was dancing with you, but I was dancing with a completely different person. And it's nice to see how they open themselves to accept it. Yeah.
So, about the question of dancing in your own...
Sorry, I have one technical say here at this very point. You all received an email, you all received a second link. So at some point it will kick us out. So just that you know that we have to.
Okay.
But keep on talking. I'm sorry, that was just technical support speaking.
Yeah, I was just referring to your question of being dancing in your piece, and it's not an easy task. Because you need to really let go of that role. Okay, ahora bien, siéntate acá. You really need to let go of that place when you go on stage, and it's really like to be in, for me, like in 2 different roles, as a performer or as a choreographer. Like I really don't want to be a choreographer when I'm performing. And I think that takes some time to understand, like what is this, I don't know, different kind of state. And also to work with your partner is also not that easy. Like you really need to find the fine line of how do you want to communicate, and then you're working all day in the studio together, and you come at home and then you're all day together as well. And yeah, it's nevertheless, it was an amazing process, and I would do it again. And still, the new piece that I'm creating now, I'm not dancing, and it's like for 4 dancers that I don't know. I really wanted to be completely in the other role, like not in this in between where I need to choose or make a clear decision about what do I do now. I am dancing or I'm choreographing. I don't want to be in charge when I'm dancing. I want to just perform and these kind of things. So yeah, it's a conscious choice to make, and there are the pros and cons, I would say. Sometimes when I'm now choreographing for the 4 dancers that I'm working with, I really want to be inside. And there are many moments that I just want to jump and do the explorations with them and experience all the tasks that I'm offering. And dale, siéntate, siéntate. So yeah, that's my answer about it.
I think this is really, I think it's 2 challenges, like you say, like working with the partner is one, like how do you not end the relationship by doing an artistic work together? And the other one would be, yeah, to be in and out. I think, I mean, I can relate very well. Like for me, it's mostly economical reasons. Like usually you know, I go into the pieces because that's what I can afford at the moment. I do prefer to be outside usually, but it's often that, you know. But then at the same time, like you say, when if you're outside, you really want to jump in and like show or jump in and feel actually what this idea is like. So, but this still you can do. Like if you're outside, you can still like indulge in those, you know, oh, sorry, I have to come inside and I have to check it. But yeah, I always find it challenging in a way of structuring the work. I wonder how is it for you? Like, I mean, I understand like Chaim, you have like very strong structure already, but for many years. But in general, I think what I find most like challenging is to not have an overview of the whole thing, like to not know how it's gonna be from the beginning to the end because you cannot see it because you're not outside. So I wonder how you deal with that. Do you even care?
Um, so like it's quite not only the thing to be in the piece as a dancer, but you're in the piece as everything. You're a costume designer, light designer, sound designer, and that goes to the stage with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a really strong support from Roberta, this is my partner in the company, to do the organization and every details that are, but it's still, when you have to go to the theater and then you be there at 10 in the morning to tell the guy the cues for lights, for music, and then check if everything is in order. And if nothing happened with dancers, that happens like sometimes we had our last performance in Berlin with 5 dancers that on the performance day, so that 3 hours before the performance, one dancer could not dance. And then should he structure the thing? And this goes with us to the stage as well. And I think that is a hard work to let it go before step into the stage as a performer and leave these other things behind you. That's is a constant and really, really hard process. And that's why Buddy Play just have a solo. Yeah. So, and
Yeah, maybe, I don't know if you have more thoughts on this topic. Otherwise, we can continue with more topics. I'm wondering, personally, how much time you spend on developing your body and like your some so-called movement language. Is there something such as movement language? Do you dedicate yourself to be trained in shape, and how is it? Like, is it something natural? Is it something that you need to dedicate a lot of time to? Is it something that, you know, it's just normal, a part of a day? Does it come with a lot of sacrifice and so on? So I'm wondering about like the body aspect of your life. And we're gonna continue this talk after we switch to the next Zoom call. So let's do this.
okay.
Well, sorry for that. So let's continue our wonderful conversation and let's talk about how much time you spend on your body or how much energy and effort.
Maybe I will start this time. Yeah, it's a really interesting question that it keeps on changing through the years. Maybe the amount of effort I needed when I was 20, it was very different than now that I'm almost 40. Because the body gains so much knowledge of how to work efficiently that you don't need the same amount of physical effort or muscle tone in order to do exactly the same things. And you, I don't know, there is a transformation along this profession that I'm really thankful about it, to keep on researching, talking about movement research. What does it mean? You know, like how does the body change, and how do I approach this concept of being fit, or how much attention do I give to that, or how much attention I give to creativity or possibilities or new directions. So yeah, I think along my creations, I'm also like teaching a lot, and this is something that really helps me to process and research and understand all of these concepts. Yeah.
I think for us, it's when we were at the moment now, we are not dancing nearly as much as we were prior to everything happening in the world currently. So before, it was definitely less of a thought about being in shape, because fortunately the career that we chose kept us in shape, which is a nice added benefit to being a physical performer. We also both have other careers that are not associated with our dance company. So now we have to definitely make it a point to stay physical in our daily lives. And also, once we're going into the studio, once we're going to create, the hunger is built up so much that now once we get into the studio, we are exploding with energy, we're exploding with creation, we're exploding with all of these movement ideas. And we have to make sure that when we get in there, it's not the first time that we've put our foot above our hips in 2 weeks or something like that. So just to stave off, as we also are not 20 years old anymore. So we definitely have to stave off any sort of discomfort in the hip and knee area by staying loose and limber and active and all that fun stuff. But we're definitely something that we're thinking about a lot. And and you can't eat what you want anymore, which is such a bummer. We're not dancing full time anymore.
Chaim, what is your thought?
I think at the very moment, I think I put more effort in putting my staff, my dancers, in shape than myself. Before, I used to run a lot. That is my personal way of being able to perform or to put in use the technique that I have to keep my body going. But I think just by teaching right now is the way that I put myself mostly on shape.
Yeah, me as a dancer on the company, Chaim P's are always very, very, very physical, and we need to be in shape. We need to be strong. Body play, the piece that you see before, this was the short version, 20 minutes, but used to be 1 hour. And it's very physical. We have pieces that are much more physical than this, also much more hard. And we are now rehearsing. We are coming back to the training, because after these 2.5 months in Berlin without any training, and now is the moment we hopefully are in the class again, in the rehearsals studio again, and we are again training to be fit for the next performance soon, we hope. And yeah, the conscious body system itself is a workout system. So we train the mind and the body at the same time. So it's a perfect way for us to be fit. So we are training with the warm-up, we are training with the class itself, and it's working very well.
Okay, my next question would be, what is, because now you say it's difficult time, I can imagine it is, but what makes you keep on going? Like, what is the thing that makes you wake up in the morning and figure out that you want to do dance? I think this is the ultimate question, but how would you verbalize this?
I think it's not an option. You do because what you do. That's yeah. There's no much longer thoughts about it.
We are very positive in this way. Like, for example, today was our first Zoom. We like to be live. We like to be on the stage. We like to be with people. And then we are just waiting that the right moment to be on the stage again. Here in Berlin, the situation is quite okay. We are all now giving a summer intensive. So we are sharing with people in the studio. It's amazing to come back. We are rehearsing because we have a performance in October. If everything is still like today, like if the situation is okay, we're gonna perform soon. So we are very looking forward and thinking just that everything is gonna be okay and we can be on the stage soon.
Yep.
I can say that all the situation with the corona was, it brought a lot of questions regarding this profession. In the beginning, it felt like really useless. Like, how can I help the world by dancing? And it took me some time, like, really to go back to this essence of the importance of dance. And now, like, after these months of lockdown, I really feel how important it is. And I come back, and I'm coming back to dance and to create and to perform even with more clarity than before. I find it is one of the most, how to say, I find it so important in not just in the form, but also in what it talks about, and the fact that the body has a place to express itself is priceless. And I really want to support that and keep on doing it. So there is even more consciousness about how much the body can talk and can bring other definitions in what do we know. Yeah, and I don't know how long I can stay in this artist talk. Maybe not that long, but yeah.
Both of your sentiments, they ring so true. Just in, you know, for dance, you just have to. I think for probably all of us, dance is the ultimate way that we're able to express ourselves as artists. I haven't found any other, you know, any better way to be able to artistically express what we have to say as a company other than dance. I've never been scuba diving, so maybe that's in the cards, but at this point right now, it's definitely dance. And as you said, Olivia, we also find that even though right now where we are, we can't quite go into a studio yet. We can't quite get together with other dancers yet. But once we get back to it, which hopefully will be soon, the level of intention that we are going to come in with is definitely going to be, you know, it's going to be much higher. Just in that before we didn't even understand that we were taking what we were doing for granted. because it's just something that we had always done. We'd never not done it. So now when it's taken away in that sense, and you've realized, well, all of those hours that I spent in the studio, not really pushing forward an idea that maybe, you know, we thought was really strong. We can come back tomorrow. We can, you know, we got the space for another couple of hours. That was lost time that we didn't realize we were losing. So now getting back, once we get back in, the intention is going to be so strong. It's going to be, and I think for everybody, I think my hope is that there's just an explosion of artistic creativity that's been bottled up, and there has to be a release. It's not like everyone just said, well, if we can't dance, we're not going to dance or create anymore. So I'm greatly looking forward to one, that wheelbarrow being in your next piece, and then two, having a great kind of surge of dance arts and creative arts pushing forward in you know, in these new mediums that we're finding as well. We've learned a lot about dance film, and we've learned a lot about, you know, ways to film dance and the importance of, right, and the importance of documenting what you're doing and all of that fun stuff. So it's been super frustrating, obviously, but you know, I think it might be an extremely good reset for a lot of things.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. Like, I was already focusing on like trying to get a little bit more in the internet space before the pandemic, but now with the pandemic, it's like, you know, you realize what's out there, and you realize what are the possibilities and perhaps what you're missing. At least that was the thought for me, like, oh shit, my pieces are really unwatchable. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I record them in a theater nicely, still they're unwatchable. So like, also like conducting this platform here, like taught me a lot, like, and looking at so many works, because I don't know if you know, but there were like over 400 works easy. And the interest was quite big, and yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff, and some stuff it's you know, possible to watch. Some stuff is okay to watch. Some stuff is nice to watch, and a lot of stuff is not nice to watch. So I think it's quite interesting to see this you know, different spectrum, you know, because sometimes you can have a great work, but the moment you put it on film, it doesn't work. It's like it's poorly recorded, it's too dark, it's too little, you know, it misses the vibe of the work. So with this, I realized like how important it is to have a good recording. And then, you know, how also I have an experience in selling work, so I understand like if the only way that you're gonna show it to a curator is through video, then it better be a good video. So for me, that was like a nice learning experience to see, you know, those different works. Still, I try to focus mostly about the craft, about like if the work is really good. But then if the work is really good, but the video is really not good, then what can you do? Like, at least in this format. Yeah. There was no...
I don't know about the other artists, but have you all thought about putting dance on film specifically, creating dance specifically to put on film as opposed to put into a proscenium theater space? Anyone on the internet.com, anybody out there?
Yes, I did. That's quite expensive. And that's, but it make it easy to bring the work everywhere. But if you really want to invest money to have a really high quality product at the end, you should invest lots of money. That's the problem.
I can relate to that. I have the feeling that that there is even bigger challenge. Like the moment you're creating work, at least this is my experience, like it's even at the premiere, it's not good yet. It's not the way you want to present the work, but like when are you supposed to like record the work if not on the premiere? So I wonder, you know, I have the biggest problems there, honestly. Not about the cost of it, like I can maybe figure it out, but you know, the fact that what I'm actually spending on recording, it's not gonna be what I actually want to show, because I know that the work's still gonna develop and it's gonna become something else, like the third time you present it.
Yeah, but I was more talking about like dance movie. So a
Okay.
piece made for film, for not recording on stage.
Yeah, I think that a dance film is a different work than to choreograph something for stage. I'm also very curious about the dance films. I think in this time, probably it crossed the mind of almost everyone. Like, okay, that's how to do it. That this is what we need to do now. So let's see what are the possibilities. And I also was checking and talking with other people to see what we could do. But it's really, like I said, another focus, is another process also to learn. So it's not something to make it fast. Like if you want it to be good, then you need to spend much longer time in investigating this new format. This is how I feel. Yeah. And yeah, I would say goodbye for now. Thank you for this opportunity and for this conversation. I'm really happy, and I hope we will see each other live somewhere around the world.
100%. Thank you so much, Olivia. Wonderful work. Thank you. So this dance film idea, like I think you know, it's, I had this thought because, you know, as a choreographer, you're supposed to do choreography, production management, stage lighting, sound design, maybe dance, and yeah, those and other things. But and then generally like direction, because a piece doesn't direct itself. Like if it's more people, it's not just choreography. I think that there is a clear distinctions, even though choreographers nowadays, they kind of blend it, but I still think that choreography is something slightly different than direction. And once you put this piece on stage, I feel that there's always direction. So in a way, like you are a director. So if you're already a director, why shouldn't you direct a movie? You know, this is a simple question. Like if you already know about everything, like why can't you just make a movie? I'm a little bit provocative here, but you know, is it a thought that might come to someone's mind?
If you're a choreographer and the director of a physical bodies on the space, does not mean that you have the knowledge of technical equipment to record them. And when you're sitting on the audience, you see the full picture. When you have it on the camera, it can have the sweat of the dancers in a certain moment. Or you can have the close-up in skin touch that will express a lot that it cannot be seen on stage from certain distance. And you can have cameras in different angles that you don't see by sitting on the audience as well, even if it's a round audience. And those things are, and now you have cameras and drones. You have cameras that you can place everywhere, underwater and so on. And I think to be a director in the movie, you need to have knowledge of those possibilities.
Or to contract
People
director
that
of
know.
photography, director of video, yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
We certainly try to do the best that what we can do on an iPhone, just in case Tim Cook is watching this right now. We all use the same kind. So if you want to get into the arts business, let us know. But I 100% agree. There's all of these a lot of technical aspects that just in film in general. Obviously, it's an art form in and of itself. So to think, well, I'll just kind of jump right into the film medium and make a splash is certainly a tall order, even though you can buy programs and make things look like the Lord of the Rings or whatnot. But we've definitely been trying to think about, there's obvious ideas that come up that we feel like would work very well in a proscenium stage with certain lights and certain sounds and all of those things that a choreographer, director, dancer, creator thinks about, in their mind. And then we have, almost had to file away these other ideas that we feel might not be great for a proscenium stage situation. The idea that we're trying to express might not be seen specifically, from, as you said, sitting farther back. So there are definitely certain ideas that we feel like we would love to try to put onto film that could capture a separate, understanding. But as we're all economical creators, we all also want that movement to translate well onto stage, because if we create movement, we want it to be utilized anywhere that we possibly can. We can't just let movement go to waste and just sit on the internet forever. We have to be able to do it on stage. So it is just a lot of people are thinking about it, but you both are making extremely good points about the challenges of being a creator and looking at these new mediums that we necessarily didn't look at before, especially when we're performing in theaters and we're performing in outdoor spaces, and we had that luxury. But now it's obviously something that is a pretty open conversation.
So I think I can say to this is that Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino don't have film education, just to put it there on the table. So I guess just by the mere, I don't even think that Stanley Kubrick has a film education, but just to put it on the table, I think it's just, the making videos with smartphone is so simple, especially if you have like the expensive one from America. Making videos on the smartphone is so easy nowadays, then I think it's just like it opens so many possibilities for experimentation, even if you don't have like the good gear. But yes, of course, like maybe the most difficult thing is like when you're like a little bit older, like how much time you can dedicate to it, like still, because like the life is, I mean, at least for me, it has so many things that I have to do. I have to do this and that and this and that. And then there is like this unlimited creative energy. It just, how to say, I need to dedicate time for that. And somehow I feel that there is the main challenge is there on the time. But other than that, I think we should all try at least, and we should all produce something, even if it's gonna be bad, in order to have a point of reference, for perhaps creating something good afterwards, after the 10th try, or something like that. I don't know. That would be my thought on that.
There's a Quentin Tarantino in all of us, I think. I think we can definitely, if we have the ideas and we know the email address of someone that knows about lenses, then maybe we can all
share that information.
Yeah, we are quite organized with promoting our work by, I mean, today I was just cutting and editing a video in the iPhone. So it's it's a very, very cool thing that we can just have a lot of material and make trailers or workshops or performance. That we do with very, very easily. The thing to make a dance film, or I mean, to have a good video of performance during premiere or other performance, that's also quite okay. I mean, you can call somebody or have a good camera, and that's easy. The idea to make a film, like we were talking about this, the budget, because actually we are always working for theaters and live performances, but there is a performance that we did a long time ago in which Chaim wanted to make a film. But really a film, not a dance video, but really a film about, it's very special performance. But we are still waiting for some budget to do it really in the way that we think about, to rent some special spaces, but of course you can do the same with the low budget and with your phone. I think it's also nice to research a bit and to just experiment with the phone in some way, the movement. But yes, the idea that we had for this project is, it's really make something big, and then we are waiting for the best, how to say, for situation. The situation, yeah, for the best moment to do it. But of course you can do anything. If you're creative, you can create anything with very less.
And it's also like, I don't know, there's a fear, I guess, of whether the work translates, because when you present something for a theater, I feel like maybe it's a bit more abstract, where you're giving the audience an idea and they're creating a story within your story, you know, like it's kind of up to the audience to formulate what they feel from that piece in a theater. That's the beauty of theater. And on a film, it's like you actually have to direct, you know, that story, and how is it going to be portrayed by so many different people when it's so micro-focused is something that's sometimes becomes a bit like scary, I guess, in the sense of those decisions that have to be made, of the clarity of how things are coming across.
Well, but maybe, just maybe, it is a process that can make you a better choreographer. Because if you suddenly have to focus on this other things, I mean, for me, at least, like any aspect of, you know, this profession that I do, or even related to it, it's like even this platform, like I'm sure it's gonna make me a better choreographer somehow. And I imagine, like, and like I set off on a task recently, like with the last piece that we did with our company, to how to say, to create a dance theater piece. And what I mean by that, a dance theater piece is like, it's not something abstract anymore. It's not something where I can say, okay, but then we make a smooth transition to another thing. It was really like, what is the story, and how do you actually focus the movement onto a story? And I feel like after that, I can still create like abstract pieces, but it was like a huge learning experience, a long learning experience. And I feel like with film, it could be something similar, like just by experimenting to have, you know, you're speaking of lenses, to receive another lens to look at the work that you're already doing.
Yeah, that's not to say that we're all going to try. I think we know that we're all going to try all different kinds of stuff, and I'm sure that we're all going to have mixed results in what we do. But that's definitely not to say that we're, you know, I think we're all going to try, and especially now where, you know, depending on how things are moving forward with, you know, with everything, it's at least opened up these ideas. And if I know dancers and I know choreographers, I know that if they have an idea somewhere in there, they have to get it out there physically somehow. It can't just, it won't just live up there forever. So we're all gonna try, and we're all gonna meet right back here in this Zoom chat and talk to the internet about it, I think.
I think that the biggest torture of all is to not being able to realize your ideas. I think this is like the worst thing ever, like working on something and not having it done, like not having it, you know, going or ready, or is the worst torture ever, for me at least.
And even when you think that idea is a fantastic idea and it just has to be done exactly right, and then when you get it out there and you see it done and you go, that wasn't that good. That's not that good of an idea. I just got to get past it. I got to move on. And the longer it sticks up there and the longer you think it's this brilliant idea that the world has to see, and then you see it on somebody and you go, we could probably table that for a while. I think that needs to simmer back in the oven for a bit. Yeah, exactly. So that's a good point, but we're just going to try. We're going to try.
And there's the opposite moment as well, that you put out your idea and then you think, no, I need more time to research. And then you expend months researching, put it out again, and then think, oh no, the first one is such a nice. Because it was much more spontaneous, strong. And then you put lots of techniques and colors and props on it. And then the first idea was such a unique, strong thing, then you should go back there. It's always.
Yeah, I can relate to that very well. Thank you so much for this wonderful talk, and especially for your performances. I think you have amazing work. And as I said, like, I don't know if it means anything to you, but as I said, I've watched through like over 400 of those, and yeah, and somehow yours stick out the most. And I have to say that I appreciate your dedication, your level, and above all the craft, the dance craft, the performance craft, and the choreography craft that is put into those works. So thank you so much for today, and I hope we stay in contact.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. It was nice also in these moments to keep showing the piece to the audience. And yeah, I mean, in a virtual way, for us was also pretty new, this conversation with artists from far away, but people that are in different country, and just share this moment, this question, just share about dance and art and our pieces was really nice. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And hope to see you live soon.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you for putting on this performance. It's so wonderful to know that there are other people who are doing the exact same thing, trying to get everything out there. And it was wonderful to speak with other artists and dancers today. Hopefully our conversation will be heard by millions and will inspire everybody. But selfishly, it was amazing to just speak with other artists and dancers and talk through what has been a tremendously different time than any of us have ever experienced. And yeah, thank you, Craft Choreography, for putting this together. Really, really wonderful.
All right, and yeah, if you want to see more of those, you can check the other videos on the channel. I have great talks with other artists from Vienna and around the world, so, and pieces and stuff. So please feel free to check the channel out, and thank you so much for participating. Have a wonderful day or evening. Thank you so much for participating in the last Craft Choreography online. And I say in the last, but it's not the last, because we're gonna have a live event and it's also gonna be transmitted. So you also can enter our location in Vienna through online media. So stay with us, stay tuned with this channel, subscribe, like, and you're gonna see more. See you soon.